This is such a passionate issue I'm getting ready to talk about. I just, as I took a deep breath, I was just feeling that. And deep for me for sure. I think one of the most amazing things about Arate, there were a lot of amazing things about Arate, but I think perhaps the most amazing thing that I could like literally physically point to was that we would throw a course and maybe would have 8 people in it. And then 45 people, up to 45 people I think we had at one time, would show up to be on production and source the course. And when we were doing retreat centers, they would even pay to be on source. There is something about that that is always been amazing to me, and points to what is important to us, and what in essence what Arate really was, or was a space to provide, to have in a really pure way. And that, I think, when I put myself in your shoes, and I've never been on production, that's always been the ongoing joke, is Guy's never done production, right? So, but when I put myself in your shoes, it's obvious why you do that. It's because even if you're not engaged in the conversation that's happening in the circle, just being in the room is infectious. Just being in the room has you feel those feelings that you hadn't felt in years. It has you remember those things, and it has you remember and become present to in like a visceral way. Just being in the presence of somebody else being real, I experience being more real. And then I remember, oh, it's like being real, that's it. It happened every couple of months where people would gather around to be in a container of the pure that, which is most important to us. And how it manifested was like, just was the impossible happen. I've never seen anything like that, where 40 people show up for 8 people in the course. And it created just such a pure space. And the kinds of relationships that formed in that space, and marriages. I mean, we've been to people's weddings, they met there. A whole world has come out of that. And I'm going to bring something to your attention in a way that I'm personally finding out for myself, and through Arate has been a big lesson for me. Is that, have you noticed that stopped? When Arate stopped working as a business, there was no more Arates to go to. There were no more places in that particular context, the Arate context, for that to happen in. In fact, if you think about it, when you're sitting in front of somebody, doing what I think, if you're watching this video, doing what I know I love to do, and I'm almost certain you love to do, is when we're really looking deeply in each other's eyes, and we're being ourselves so much that we stopped noticing ourselves. Like, the whole reality and time-space goes away, and all that's happening is that relationship in that moment. There's nothing else like that for me. I feel sensations in my body that I don't normally feel. I feel a kind of rapture and affinity and aliveness when thou connects with thou, eye to eye, totally being ourselves, so much that we're not even thinking about it, because it doesn't take any thought, because that's what's happening. That experience is unlike anything for me. But we rarely notice that the chairs we're sitting on to do that we had to pay for. And the house or the apartment that we were having that conversation has like a mortgage. And that, in fact, everything that when you look around the room, on some level involves money. When those things are in place, do you notice how we're able to fully let go into an experience like that? Now think about it like this. Imagine being with somebody that you could be very real with and have that kind of like interaction. And having, you know, 50K in the bank, retirement set, all that stuff's handled. And having that conversation. Now imagine being like 15 grand in debt, not being able to pay the bills, not knowing how to pay the bills, and then having that conversation. I'm not saying that the conversation couldn't happen, but to me, when I think about the mental loops I would have to get over and let go of in order to be present for that conversation, would almost make it impossible. In fact, for me to sit down and spend time and have that conversation, if all that's going on, doesn't make any sense actually. Because the only way that those conversations can really happen on an ongoing basis is when there is a reality, right, that is stable and clear, that is the container for that to happen. And notice that when Arete stopped providing that reality, that particular reality stopped providing the container, which cost money and all of that stuff. When that container left, there was no more of that relationship in that reality. I think what I notice is often, I think I notice this virtually across the board, almost everywhere, is that we have those two things very distinct. It's like being in the hot tub, right? Oh, hanging out, and you get out of the hot tub, and it's cold, and you can't find your towel. And at that moment, the hot tub is like this memory that was really important while I was in the hot tub, but now that I can't find my towel, it's like the only thing that matters is like finding my towel. It's like these two separate worlds. That they're both separate is, I think, an unfortunate misunderstanding.